very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have a special meeting tonight, very different from the normal meetings that we have. I want to say thank you to Shahzada Hayat, who's organized this meeting in honor of the former Minister of Interior, the caretaker Minister of Interior, Mr. Habib Malik. We have two senators from Pakistan, Senator Waqar on my left and Senator Adnan on my right, and of course members of Parliament and Lord Qurban Hussain. I want to welcome you all to this meeting. Really, we want to hear from our chief guest, but as guests are arriving, I was told by Shahzada Hayat to say a few opening remarks about the contribution of our soldiers, and I chose actually our soldiers, meaning those from the United Kingdom as well as those from Pakistan. And I chose to say something about the last 99 years. And that would take about 3 or 4 hours for me to speak. But as you know, July 2014 is the year when we remember 100 years from the First World War. And I just want to remind everyone that the British Army in India at that time was the total number was 155,000 soldiers. And by the end of 4 years, they became 1.2 million man force. There were many soldiers from all sections of the Indian subcontinent. With just giving you some figures which are important, and especially for the chairman of Select Committee, because when you are celebrating next year, people need to remember that during the Second World War, 2.5 million South Asian soldiers participated in the Second World War. So, Second World War, that's the contribution from our part of the world. And if I come more recent, and where my friends from Pakistan will be able to say much more than I can, but I know Pakistan has been at the forefront of the war on terror. Over 50,000 Pakistanis have lost their lives. More than 6,000 soldiers and police officers have lost their lives. So I was asked to, before I invite other speakers to make their contribution, if I can ask everyone to stand or even remain seated actually, and be silent for 1 minute to remember all those who have died fighting those wars as well as fighting the war on terror. Bismillah. If I can ask the organizer of this meeting, Shahzada Hayat, to make an introductory speech, and then we will ask other guests to speak. Shahzada Hayat.
Thank you, my Lord, Honourable VIP guests today, Pakistan parliamentarians and British parliamentarians and distinguished guests and members of the public. My Lord, thank you for facilitating this meeting today, which to a lot of the young generation of the Commonwealth countries' children here, or grown-up people, is very important. For me, particularly, for example, the campaign in El Alamein, it's its 70th anniversary this year. Why does El Alamein have a special significance to me? Is because a lot of people from what was then the British India, my father had served in the 8th Army in El Alamein under the command of General Montgomery. I would not have been standing here today, my Lord, had he not given the best part of his life in that campaign. So it is important that we remember those who gave their yesterday for our today. My Lord, also it is important for us, I know that we are celebrating the First World War, Second World War, memories of those who've given so much to make the world today as it is. But in particular, what's also most important for me is that my ancestral homeland, which is Pakistan, that people in Pakistan are still continuing to struggle against to make the world a safer place. I would like to use also this opportunity to remember those 25 soldiers who got accidentally killed. And we are here, and at least their spirit can realize that we are still remembering them in this wonderful house. And you actually chaired that meeting, my Lord, when we had that particular event. Next, my Lord, I am delighted here today that in this particular house, our House of Lords, where you were the first Muslim MP, that also from your ancestral homelands, the Pakistani parliamentarians are here, and making this occasion a special, and we of course are very fond of our Lord Qurban Sahib as well, who has now joined you. Second part is that Malik Habib Muhammad Khan, sir, here is a man who has served Pakistan brilliantly throughout his career. We thought that we would invite him here to meet the British parliamentarians and to thank him and honour him, and ask you to honour him in front of your President, your colleagues, for his outstanding contribution, that his services not only to Pakistan, but they face a lot of challenges in Pakistan to prevent things from happening here in Britain. So they prepare prevention better than the cure. My Lord, thank you very much, and I know the distinguished guests will say a few words from both sides of the, from Pakistan and Britain here, and thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. I think we will continue with our meeting, and if parliamentarians arrive later on, obviously I would like to save our three guests and our VIP chief guest, Malik Habib Saab, to the very end. So if I can ask Councillor Lashari Saab, the former Deputy Mayor of Kensington and Chelsea and the Chairman of Third World Solidarity and the most active young man of Pakistani origin in this parliament, Councillor Lashari.
My Lords, Right Honourable guests from Pakistan, Adnan Khan, Senator, and Waqar Ahmed Khan, Senator. I'm standing up because I'm following Shahzada Hayat, and as you have said, a young man. I'm proving more younger than him, so I'm standing up, not to say that I'm speaking from the top of the world. I will sit down. But I'm very pleased that there are a lot of our generation, mothers, sisters, and daughters in this room, and I'm very pleased, that United International Community Forum is working among all the communities. Lord Ahmad Sahib, you have just historically said the sacrifices of Muslims, Asians, and South Asia. I hope the SAR country become a future as the European Union has become, and I welcome the latest entry to the European Union, Croatia. And I think the SAR countries should work more effectively toward a better South Asia than it is at the moment. I think today we have gathered here to remember the people who died in different wars, and there are millions. You have given the number, the sacrifice of their self. They were killed in the wars, and also the sacrifices of the families and generation. And Shahzada Hayat is one of them because his father fought. And I think nobody in this room will be whose grandfather or great-grandfather has not fought or has not been involved in donating something out of those millions of pounds in early century. And when you say 475 or 79 million in 1914 or 15, it is billions of pounds in today's term. I think it is very important that we remember that the people from Asia and the Muslim world were always against injustice
Well, firstly, of course, I want to effectively acknowledge here, congratulate the fact that Pakistan's had a civilian government come in one after another, and that the democratic process has now been fully taking place, because I think I'm right that this is the first time in the history of Pakistan that they've been automatically from one government on to another. And of course, I think a lot of that credit can be given to the previous government for ensuring that elections took place on time. I think that credit should be given for the election commission for doing their work properly, and of course the caretaker administration and interim government as well for all the work they did. And I think to that, of course, with Pakistan's precarious security issues and all the other issues that are happening that we all know about, and I don't think I need to go into it, having an interior administrator who was able to ensure that things didn't descend into a disorder and there was stability and security in the country. For that, you must be congratulated and commended for that as well, for all the hard work that you put in. And I hope very much that the new government will recognise your knowledge, experience and background, and of course the great work you've done as in the interim caretaker government.
Thank you. James, I do not want to throw you into lion's den, but if you would like to please make a small contribution, it would be much appreciated.
Certainly, may I begin by saying it's a great honour that the Home Secretary has come to meet us and to talk to us today, and we are very lucky to have such a good representation from Pakistan. And I would like, if I may also, to support something that Yasmin Qureshi has said, which is the point that she made about her having been raising in Parliament the issue of drones for a very long time. Because about 2 years ago, I think, I sat next to her when we were about to listen to President Obama, I think. And she raised the issue of drones even then, and I was just sitting next to her, doing no harm to anybody, and she said, "What about the drones?" And she has been going on about this subject for a long time. And partly because of the concern that has been raised by parliamentarians coming from Pakistan with the parliamentarians in the United Kingdom. And every time we, as a Defence Committee, go to Pakistan, the issue is also raised about remotely piloted air systems, as we must now call them. We mustn't call them drones, apparently. We must call them remotely piloted air systems. And the Defence Select Committee is going to announce within the next few days an important inquiry into the use of remotely piloted air systems. One point I do need to make about remotely piloted air systems is that they are piloted by somebody, and that they are a very necessary tool in one's defence arsenal. But it is absolutely essential that the same rules of war apply if the pilot is on the ground as if the pilot is in the air. And certainly the British forces do not use our remotely piloted air systems in Pakistan because we do not have Pakistan's permission to do so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, my Lord, for giving us the opportunity to be here today. Now, I've heard lots of different concepts and lots of different theories. And first of all, I think the occasion today is to pay tribute to the fallen soldiers, the people that were the custodians of the fabric of the society. They're the very reason we are here today. If those soldiers did not dedicate or commit their life to what they were doing, and I speak for soldiers all across the board for any country, 3 points that were raised here, and I'd like to touch on briefly. One, you raised the issue of the geographical and strategic importance of Pakistan in the subcontinent. And I believe Yasmin raised a point about the security being a detriment towards investment, and also talking about strengthening the institutions. James, you raised the point about the drones and renamed the drones as RPS, remote piloted air systems. It doesn't change anything if you change the names, as long as the intention is not changed. So what I'm going to get to is, I think yours were the 2 points that I'd like to touch on. One is basically strengthening the relations between Pakistan and the UK and between the East and the West. And I'll highlight the point you raised that Pakistan is strategically an important area, and that has demonstrated by China signing the latest possibility of opening the corridor between China and Gawada port and putting a full services facility there. My lords and the members of the parliament, you say that you come here and the interaction is good, but unless there is a national review, unless you sit down with the stakeholders and decide on the future and a corrective measure, we will not see a better future. We want to see a better future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, we've yet to hear from our chief guest, Deputy High Commissioner Saab. Just carry on.
Honorable members of Parliament and the Parliaments from both sides. We have the House of Lords, the House of Commons. We also have parliamentarians from Pakistan. So, honorable parliamentarians, hosts of the event, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good evening. I'll be very brief. I understand the range of comments have been made. I'll simply, on this occasion, acknowledge, first of all, I think the primary purpose of this evening was to acknowledge the valuable sacrifices made by the armed forces in Britain, in Pakistan, and I'll be very brief. I can simply say that Pakistan armed forces, on their behalf, at least I can say that they are, for instance, we are the largest troop contributors, or among the largest, in UN peacekeeping efforts internationally. Currently, 9,460 troops of Pakistan Army are engaged in 7 countries, 7 different peacekeeping missions across 3 continents, including in Democratic Republic of Congo, Liberia, Ivory Coast, Darfur, Western Sahara, East Timor, and Haiti. Pakistan's commitment to global peace remains unwavering and steadfast. The performance of our peacekeepers have been acknowledged internationally, of course, in Pakistan also. Just briefly to mention 2 points which were mentioned here, the drones. I think I don't need to go into details. A lot of people have spoken on it, and the government's position, the Pakistan government's position is very well known on this issue. On the issue of nuclear weapons, which was referred to the honourable member, I just briefly would like to flag that the Pakistan's nuclear assets are under the National Command Authority, and the National Command Authority is headed by the Prime Minister, includes in its board or the committee includes ministers. The foreign minister is the vice chairman, there are other ministers, and also we have defense officials. So I think any apprehension of this are completely misplaced. I would like to state it very unequivocally on this score. And we have been a responsible nuclear state, and it was not Pakistan which introduced nuclear weapons to the region.
Thank you.
So I'll end there, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, my lord. First of all, I'd like to welcome our chief guest, Malik Habib Saab, Senator Waqar and Senator Adnan, And ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. I'll pass my time to our chief guest and Lord Qurban to listen to them. And in fact, I just want to mention one thing here. I'm failed to understand. That's why we bring this organization, World Congress of Overseas Pakistanis. We want to show the world we are the Pakistanis. I don't know. I born and brought up in Pakistan. I have not seen what's going on in Pakistan. That's from Pakistanis, you know. I'm failed sometimes when I'm thinking and listening all this nonsense what's going on in Pakistani region. And that's why we bring this organization, my lord, to show 7 million plus overseas Pakistanis in 140 countries how good they are in their host countries and how good they are for their country of origin. With these words, thank you very much.
Thank you. That's a sweet. Awesome. I cannot miss Senator Adnan Saab, who's right next there. Would you like to say a few things?
First of all, I am extremely honored and thankful to the members of the Parliament, and of course Shahzada Hayat, who is the organizer, and the members of the House of Lords for inviting us to speak on this very important subject, sacrifices of the soldiers and civilians who died in these wars in the subcontinent. I would like to pay my tribute to those who sacrificed their lives for a greater cause. But as you know, I am not prepared, as I was called on a very short notice. Once again, I would like to salute those who sacrificed their lives, and I think there's a lot to speak on this subject. But looking to the time constraints and the other speakers to speak, I would like to thank you all. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Home Secretary Habib Malik Saab, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome our guests here. I'm grateful to Shahzada Hayat as well for coordinating this meeting, and Lord Nazir Ahmad Saab for hosting the meeting. Only a couple of points, if I may, on the subject, and one or two relating matters. People from the region, what is now Pakistan, have given lives, as Lord Nazir Ahmad has said, in First World War, Second World War. And the sacrifices were huge. It's only the families of those who gave their lives who know what effects of those sacrifices have been. And my family is one of those. My father's elder brother gave his life during the Second World War in Burma, when he was the only breadwinner at home. My father was only 14 years old, and the whole burden was left on my father's shoulders to look after the family. And we know how we suffered, our family suffered. And my father still cries when he talks about the life that he had to lead and earn for the family at that age. And there are obviously similar stories all around when hundreds of thousands of people have given their life. And after Pakistan's independence, of course, Pakistan has always been a friend of the West throughout the Cold War. And Pakistan has made enormous sacrifices during the Cold War. And I have spoken from the floor of the House on this subject more than once, to remind the British politicians, not that they don't know, they know very well, but just to remind them and to put them on record again and again, the sacrifices that Pakistani nation has given for the interest of the West throughout the Cold War, during the war on terror, and even now, on daily basis. And we would say to the British government and others, please help Pakistan to resolve that long-standing issue where Kashmiris are suffering every day of their life. Thank you very much, my lord.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bansal. I'm now going to do a very small honorable thing because it's an honor for me to have the opportunity to present this award, Outstanding Service, on behalf of the United International Community UK to Malak Habib Khan Sahab, Muhammad Habib Khan Sahab, for the excellent work he has done in the recent years, but more importantly, for his outstanding service to Pakistan. Lord Qurban Sahab and Senator Bukhar Sahab and Senator Adnan Sahab, please stand for a photograph. And also, Shahzada Hayat. Janab, organize kita bichare. Middle is camera di kamal mein biche.
Parliamentarians, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to be amongst you today on this most splendid occasion. I'm thankful to Mr. Shahzada Hayat for taking this initiative and organizing this forum. I'm grateful to Lord Nazir Ahmad, whose services are commendable for the service of mankind and for social service and for the Muslim world as a whole. I pay my tribute to the soldiers who have lived life in the First and the Second World War. Being a soldier, I do appreciate and understand the backlash of fighting in the war and its consequences. Wars are fought to bring peace, but you have to give a greater sacrifice. The other day I was invited in GHQ on Yom Shoda, where the Chief of Army Staff, or the Chief Guest, was organizing this event, and the families of Shodas were present. About 10,000 families, and looking at them and their courage, their morale, it gives us a new life and strength to inspire our youth for the national cause to fight. I was delighted to see the morale of the families of the Shodas. At this moment, I would like to mention the role of armed forces. The army was fully alert. The army deployment was symbolic, and we had very close coordinations with the Pakistan Army troops at the provincial level as well as at the GSP level. Their deployment was symbolic, and I proposed against the suggestion of some of the political leaders that we deploy one man on each polling stations. I didn't agree to this proposal because deploying one soldier on one polling station was not relevant in the sense that if anything goes wrong with a soldier, it will have a serious negative impact on the morale of the force. I thank you all for having provided me this opportunity and honored me with this
very prestigious award for recognition of my services, and I stand symbolically honored as a Pakistani, the Pakistan that I love, the Pakistan for which I can give my life as a soldier, and the Pakistan that will live long. And in the end, I'll read the Qaid's message. My message to you all is of hope, courage, and confidence. Let us mobilize all our resources in a systematic and organized way and tackle the grave issues that confront us with grim determination and discipline worthy of a great nation. This message is for all of us. It's a reminder for our leadership. For this, I once again thank you all. Thank you very much.